I see my dad and he's wearing these cutoffs, like jean cutoff Daisy Dukes that are like way up at the top by his crotch line that he obviously had just made. Hey, it's Miley. Welcome back to our channel. Today it's just me. My husband, Trey, suggested that I should finally do a video talking about, quote, the short shorts story. So, some of you might know this story, but didn't know that it was me, or maybe some of you guys knew it was me, or some have never even heard about this viral story that happened. Before you listen to the rest of the story, push this little icon in the corner to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. So, 6 years ago, in 2013, I was 19 years old, and I had just came back home from college for the summer. My parents didn't really approve of how I dressed. When I was away, well, when I was in high school, my mom was able to control everything I wore because she bought it. I grew up Mormon, so it was there's very like strict, exact standards of what modest is in the LDS church, which is that it needs to be full sleeves. So I'm not wearing anything modest right now. It needs to be high neck with full sleeves, no shoulders, no midriff, no, and then to the bottom of your knees. So that's what I grew up, that's what I was supposed to wear, and I would often get in trouble in high school when I would get caught wearing tank tops or anything that I somehow got myself. So, but then I went off to college, and it was in another state. I went off to college in Hawaii, and so I was able to buy all my own clothes. And so I really changed my style when I went to Hawaii, because I was finally able to dress how I wanted, and I was living in Hawaii, so I was definitely dressing very beachy. I came home from school, and there was quite a few fights with my parents about this. My dad said quite a few messed up things. My mom would tell me that I needed to respect myself, and how sad it was that I had no self-respect, that I would dress how I was, and things of that nature. So we had already gotten into quite a few fights about that. Then one day I was up in my room and I was just hanging out wearing like a t-shirt and some cheer shorts. I cheered in high school and in college, and so I had these, just the Sophie brand cheer shorts. If you're a cheerleader, you know what I'm talking about. And that's what I was just wearing, hanging out at my house. And I came downstairs, and also, if you're Mormon, you know that Mondays are what they call family night or family home evening. So for family night, my mom said we were going to go out to eat and go miniature golfing. So I came downstairs and she said that, and I was like, okay, let's go. And she said, like, you need to go change. You're not wearing that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going then, if it's already going to be like that. And so I just went back up to my room, and I was like, no, that's fine. I don't want to start a big fight like that. I'm not going to specifically change, just go mini golfing. Like, what I'm wearing is fine. My brother came up in my room, my little brother, who was still the only one living at home. He was in high school. And so he came upstairs and was like, come on, like, let's just go. Like, it's fine. And I was like, no, she says, like, that I have to change. And, like, I'm not going to change my outfit so I can go. I don't want to do all of that. Like, what I'm wearing's fine. And he was like, come on, like, it'll be fun. Like, I have to go. Like, just come with me. And I was like, okay, but I'm not changing. He's like, whatever, like, just come. We got to the restaurant, and I come around the corner, and I see my dad, and he's wearing these cutoffs, like jean cutoff Daisy Dukes that are like way up at the top by his crotch line that he obviously had just made. And I just looked at him, and I was like, why are you wearing that? Like, it didn't register like what he was doing. I was like, why are you wearing that? And I don't think he really answered me. He was just probably like, oh, you don't like it? And I just said, I don't really care. And like, we went in, and yeah, we ordered. I don't really get embarrassed, so I think that was maybe his goal a little bit, or what. I think at the time it was more like, I knew he probably didn't want to actually walk into the restaurant wearing that, but I didn't care if he did. And I thought it was funny. And so I was like, okay. So we walked in and we stood in line. Everyone was kind of staring at us. But we ordered our food. Me and my little brother were kind of talking, laughing about it. And we're just like, what is going on? I was like, why is he doing that? And we were just like kind of laughing at him. And I took a picture of him and I posted it to my Tumblr. I had a really big Tumblr at the time. And so it immediately started just like circulating really fast on Tumblr when I shared it. And so we were like sitting down eating and I kept kind of like showing my brother like, oh wow, it's up to like 10,000 shares. It's up, like I was just, what did they call it? Reblogs. It's up to 10,000 reblogs or notes. And we were just eating our food and he couldn't believe that I had posted it. And then I think my little brother and I also posted it to my Twitter. And then he was like, okay, let's go mini golfing. And I was like, kind of like, really? We're still doing that? But it was like, okay, let's go. And we went there and we ended up seeing so many people like from our ward and like neighborhood that like knew my dad. And so he was super embarrassed. And I just kind of thought it was funny. I mean, definitely everyone was staring at us, but like I wasn't embarrassed, which I think might have been the goal. And so like I remember my dad was like posing up against, well, he wasn't posing. My dad was like leaning up against this wall. So he was kind of like sticking his butt out. I guess I'll link the picture right here as he was waiting for our golf clubs. And these girls, I could catch them. They were like pretending to take a picture of a friend, like with my dad in the background. Like it was so obvious. And so I said like, you can go ask him to take a picture. Like, I don't think he'll care. And they were like, oh no, that's not what we're doing at all. Oh my gosh. And I was like, okay. But then I think that really embarrassed my dad that I even said that. He just, I think, couldn't believe that this had backfired, I guess, that he was like so embarrassed and I just could care less. We nature golfed, everyone stared at us, everyone took pictures. Then they were like, oh, another stop, let's stop to get an ice cream. And I was like, okay, like that wasn't even on the agenda. We already ate, went to mini golf, and now we're going to get ice cream. You're on purpose trying to like be seen a lot. Then I was like, okay, he's like trying to prove a point or something right now to me. I don't know. Because it still had never really been talked about. Then that night ended and my Tumblr picture was getting pretty big. My caption for my Tumblr picture was something like, my mom told me to change my slutty shorts. I said no. So my dad cut his jeans to fit in. And in my eyes, that's essentially what happened because no one even talked about it that night. It was just like, I knew he was like trying to embarrass me, but yeah, I was like, I'm wearing shorts, so he'll wear shorts too. To where everyone on Tumblr was taking that, I'm like, oh yes, like go this dad, like forget slut shaming, like that my dad was standing up to my mom, which I wish, but that's not what happened. My mom decided to write her own blog post about it because she saw the way that everyone was taking my post on Tumblr and she wanted to state that no, they were showing me that I looked ridiculous and that modest is hottest and that he was trying to teach me a lesson of modesty. And that he was not defending me, he was defending her and backing her up, showing me what I supposedly looked like in my shorts. Meanwhile, none of this they were actually saying to me. It was just like, without being said, like I knew how I was raised. I knew that they didn't like how I dressed. They had both said so many things about it and like specifically like how it made me as a person. My dad said things about like that it showed everyone that I was like sexually promiscuous and like what type of girl I was. It doesn't make sense. You literally, the clothes you wear has nothing to do with your morals. I'll put that out right now. The clothes you wear, your morals, nothing to do with each other. Fast forward a few months, I wake up to a missed call from, well, multiple missed calls from all of these news stations. And my mom was calling me saying, like, you need to come home right now. Like 60 Minutes is coming over and Fox and all these like things that were lined up that morning. And they all want to talk about the shorts thing. And I was just like, what? And I was like, what is going on? Like, what, why? Like, why would they want to talk to us? And I was like really reluctant. But my mom was like, you need to come home. And so I was like, okay, like this is kind of weird. I have no idea what's going on. But I drove home and I got ready. And again, I remember even while getting ready, like my sleeves, my shirt that I wore had like this open little like peekaboo on here and they were some drama of, no, you can't wear that. I don't remember who the first interview was with. We interviewed with so many different news sites that day that were coming to my parents' house. And I learned pretty quickly during those interviews that these people they didn't value what my actual opinions were on it. They definitely were wanting to paint it in a story of, oh, this promiscuous, rebellious teenager disobeying her parents, and her dad teaches her a lesson in a funny way, and now she knows to dress modest. She finally realized, oh, my dad loves me, and now I will love myself and dress differently. And so they would ask me, has this changed how you want to dress? And I would be honest and say like, no. And they'd say like, has this changed like how your view on modesty and what you should wear? Have you learned that maybe modest is hottest, and what your clothes are saying? And I basically would say like, no, actually I want to hopefully one day teach my daughter, which I didn't have a daughter, I was 19. My goal would be teaching my daughter, you can wear whatever you want. The point is, while you are wearing those clothes, who are you? Are you a good person? Are you kind? Are you loving? Are you smart? Are you brave? Are you strong? That is what I would want to be teaching my future kids, that there's so much more to that. And I would also want to be teaching my kids that you shouldn't judge people on what they're wearing, that is such a little thing, and judge people on their actual character and morals, and that there's no correlation between what someone's wearing and their morals. And so I would tell these news anchors this, and these would be my answers, and they would basically just like not really respond to me, and they'd try to kind of redirect. So I did that, I remember, with one news station, and then I saw it air like an hour later. They're so quick about it, and they just basically cut out every single thing that I said. And so it was like, okay, they didn't want that story. They're airing it in Utah. Like, they didn't care what I said. I knew what kind of story they wanted, and I didn't like the way they would redirect and the way they would look and talk to me when I spoke my true ideas. So I kind of started answering questions like, yeah, like maybe now I will think twice about what I should wear, and maybe modest is hottest. Where in my mind, I just wanted to cry, honestly. It was just like, that's not what I believe in, and I didn't want to be telling other girls that, and I just felt trapped and pressured by all of these news sites there, and they were laughing and talking with my parents, and they're my parents' age, and it just was overwhelming, and I just wanted it to be over with. I hated it. I should have been like excited that this was like going everywhere, and at the same time it was cool, but not really. It was honestly just very stressful because I was being promoted everywhere as someone that I wasn't. And I remember, having to like wake up really early the next day after that, and like this car came and picked us up and took us downtown to like a studio to where we were broadcast live to CNN. So they were like in New York or LA, like talking back and forth with us. And I guess I'll put lots of little pictures and clips, I guess, of me on these sites with my dad. And so you'll see how different I looked then as well. I had a blonde pixie cut. I like hated it. It just made me so uncomfortable because I was lying. I hated everything they were asking me. I'd have to like, ha ha ha, like, and respond to these like adult men telling me like, oh, so have you learned your lesson? Are you gonna dress differently? And I'd just be like, yeah, I will. Like, I'll dress differently for you guys. That was kind of the end of shows coming to us. And then we had quite a few talk shows kind of reach out and want to do things. We actually had representatives for Ellen, and I'm trying to think what other talk shows. And then we also had Rachel Ray. And a lot of these shows wanted like the exclusive. We'll only work with you if you sign something saying that you won't go on any other talk shows. And basically my parents felt that Rachel Ray was going to be the best one to work with, and over Ellen. And I don't know, I'm sure part of that was how they thought maybe the tone of the message was going to go, where Ellen, I'm sure would have maybe kind of seen both sides a bit and tried to, I hope, talk to me like I was actually a person. And not that 19 is really old, but it also, I wasn't this like 13, 14, 15-year-old that they were kind of portraying me out to be. Like, I didn't live at home anymore. Well, I guess at this time, no, I was visiting for the summer. So but at the same time, like, I went off to college, like, I was an adult. I was buying my own clothes. It wasn't the same as some kid, I want to say. So I would have hoped that Ellen would have maybe seen me as an adult, even though I'm a teenager. So, but anyways, we went on Rachel Ray. And so Rachel Ray, so they flew us out to New York. This was the only one that we were flown out to. And we flew out to New York, which was cool. I was excited to go to New York. I thought it'd be fun, but I still was just really anxious about it. So we were on Rachel Ray, got to meet Regis. That was cool. He's like 5'2" and tiny and adorable. He was like the cutest little man. But basically before the show, we met with like one of her assistants who basically went over and had us do like practice questions and like how we'd answer. And like, so in that meeting, yeah, basically she had the question, if this changed, how I'm gonna dress. And I remember answering like, no. She was basically like, okay, like, that's not how you should answer it though, and like kept practicing. And I was really worried. I knew they were probably gonna bring up Miley Cyrus. A lot of interviewers had brought up Miley Cyrus. And actually the 60 Minutes, they talked about Miley Cyrus to me a lot, acting like, oh, because this is around her Wrecking Ball VMAs situation. And my name is obviously Miley. And I also had a short blonde pixie cut. And so at this time I was also getting like so much hate of like, oh, you Miley Cyrus wannabe, as if I chose my name. I like my name Miley, I didn't choose it. Like, yeah, and so it was basically like, oh, is she doing this because she is trying to be Miley Cyrus? So they kept practicing and basically telling me what I had to say. I went out there and yeah, they did bring up Miley Cyrus. I guess I can show some clips of that.
That's Scott. And then mom is Becky. And then their daughter, that gorgeous girl there.
Holy cow.
Her name is Miley. And I got to thinking, this is sort of like the Miley Cyrus that's been in the news, you know, and all the hubbub about how far is too far and how much is too much and, you know, how naked is naked. So what do you think? I think he's a hero. I love that he turned the tables and came out in the short shorts.
He's my guy, yes.
And it was fun. It was a fun experience. But yeah, I mean, I was really nervous and like, how do I avoid the Miley Cyrus question? Like, how do I answer the question about anything while also like avoiding it and not actually answering it and saying lies, which I still ended up having to kind of do. Because I think I said like, yeah, like, no, I think about it a little bit when I'm getting dressed, which is like, didn't happen. But
Miley, what do you think? And what do you think of all of the hubbub in the news about the other Miley and
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, definitely my whole life been taught, we say modest is hottest.
Modest is hottest. That's a great...
So definitely my whole life taught to dress modestly. So I think this was just a good reminder that maybe I needed. So now I think about it again more.
I did, for the show's sake, pretend that now I was going to change how I dressed because of what my dad did. But basically then we had a fun day in New York and it was a fun experience. But I was glad for it to be over, definitely. Then about like 6 months later, we actually had The Real ask us to be on. And by that point, I was just so over it. Because it was, yeah, like 6 months later, I hadn't heard about anything for a long time. And I do think that show would have been better about like actually discussing like both sides, like, and hopefully I would have had, I think on that show, some people defending me and I would have been able to actually voice my opinion. So that would have been cool. But at the same time, I didn't want to ask off work. And I'm like, I should be getting paid to go out. Like, if I'm going to do this, I was like, tell them that they need to pay me for the days that I'm missing of work then. And then basically when my mom told them that, they said like, never mind. So that would have been cool, I guess. Maybe I should have just done it. They should have paid me. But maybe I should have just done it anyways because that might have been a better end to it if I would have had the platform to actually be honest on a show. But I am glad it's all over. We ended up being able, like they talked about us on Leno, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, CNN, Fox and Friends. Yeah, so some of the articles just like straight up lied. I mean, whether they had my age wrong or just like direct quotes of me like rolling my eyes and like stomping around that night, being like, whatever, you look ridiculous, and like things like that, which didn't happen. It was everywhere. I had like so many people reaching out to me on Twitter like, oh my gosh, like we're talking about you in my class right now, you're on our projector, like sending me pictures. Oddly enough, I only had one friend. This guy that I cheered with in college was the one person that reached out to me and was like, hey, are you okay? Like, I've seen a lot of stuff going around right now, like, are you okay? Because he knew, I guess, like, she's probably not liking this, like, that's not what she really believes, and like, he was the only person. Everyone else was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny, this is so cool. But thank you, DJ, for being the one person to like reach out, like, are you doing okay? Having to do all these interviews, and I'm seeing the things people are saying about you, all these grown men, yeah, like calling you a slut, and so thank you, DJ. Oh, I guess I should say, so now it's been 6 years, and just recently, I mean, my dad has came out and said like that at the time he wished that instead of seeing just the shorts, he could have focused on me, and he does see things a little bit differently. He commented on Facebook saying that a while ago, and it made me really happy. So I do really appreciate that. My parents have came a long way. And hi, Trey.
What's up?
Trey's here. So basically, that's it. That's the story.
I missed it?
He missed the whole story, and here's the infamous shorts if anyone wants to see. That's all. Actually, on one of the shows, I showed them what the shorts were, and they were like, those are it? Do you have anything else? Because like they didn't seem like promiscuous enough. They realized like those are just like lounging like sweat cheer shorts. So I had these cut off Daisy Dukes, more similar to what my dad had. These like ugly painted American flag that I'd made for 4th of July. Yeah, so Rachel Ray gave us a framed picture of my dad's shorts. Yeah, Trey will go grab the framed shorts. Okay, so can I see this? Oh, you can see the ring light good on there, reflection.
Oh yeah, big ring light, big reflection.
But basically, this is what Rachel Ray printed out, and it is hanging up in my parents' home. So these are the shorts.
That her dad. You know.
They look so modest is hottest is what it says. They wrote that. And then these are some pictures of him. Here's the picture of my dad and my mom and cute little Regis and me and Rachel Ray. Look at me. And Rachel Ray and Regis. How adorable. So yeah, that's us. Fun day, I guess. Good and bad. Okay, so thank you for watching. That's the whole story. Subscribe and like this video. Comment with any other video suggestions or any questions you have about this story. Comment if you had already heard of this story when it happened, if you knew it was me or not, and what your reaction to it was. Modest isn't hottest. Just kidding, what should I say? Moral of the story is, wear whatever you want, do whatever makes you happy. Your clothes have no indication on your self-respect. You should respect yourself and you should respect others. You can do all of those things while being true to yourself and wearing clothes that you like. It is your body. It is your choice on how you want it represented. Don't let anyone else take that away from you. Be kind to others in the clothes you wear. Be a good person in the clothes you wear. Love yourself. I do. And I love you guys too, I guess. Trey wants me to start saying that to you guys. So, all right. Have a great day.
Them?
What? I do love them. I just said. I said I love myself and I love you guys. So, have a great day. Bye.